Hello, everyone. So, we're going to start off with week 3 deep dive. Specifically, we're going to be looking at our particle. So, from last time, when we created our particle, we only had the chance of creating one. And since we have other levels slash worlds that we want to be able to have different particles for each of them, we weren't able to do that before, but now we are going to be able to do that now. So once you've clicked on your particle, go ahead and click on the costumes tab so that we can see what we have. So since we need new costumes, we're going to go ahead and hover over this choose a costume, click on the paintbrush, and you guys can create as many as you want, but it has to be specifically depending on the amount of levels. Since every time a new level appears, it's going to be able to then change it. So if you have more than what your levels are, not all of them are going to be able to show up, and that's going to be very important. So I'm only going to do one, but essentially you can repeat the process as many times as you have different levels to add them to. So once I created a new costume, I can go ahead and create a new particle. So maybe let's say that this one is specifically for spring. So I'm going to start off by clicking on my brush tool, picking a color, and then I'm just going to draw a flower. So same thing, I'm just going around and not stopping until I make it to the very end. And then I'm going to fill it in with my bucket tool. I'm going to change the color again. On my bucket tool. And here I have a flower. So now that I have my costume already set up, the next part is going to be to go back into the code and change what we have here. So we don't have to update any code, but we do have to add something new. We have to add a code that's specifically looking for when a new level shows up and what costume to turn it into. So, if for those of you who only want to create one more particle, so you're going to have two different ones like I do inside of my costume, so I only have two, then you're going to follow this portion of the code. So we're going to first go into the yellow events tab, and we're going to add when green flag clicked. Then we're going to go into our control, and we're going to add a forever because we always wanted to constantly be looking for this. After that, we're going to add a if then. We're going to go inside of operators and add an equal sign. On the empty bubble, we're just going to go into the variables tab and add a level bubble. And we're going to tell it exactly which level we want it to appear in. So let's say for me, that's going to be level 3. Then I'm just going to go into looks, add a switch costume to on each section of the if, then, else. And I'm going to pick what costume I want to show up. If I only want the flower to show up on level 3, then I'll leave this top one the same, and then I'll change the second one to 1, which means every other level is going to have leaves, but in particular, my level 3 is only going to have the flower. So for those of you who only created one extra particle like I did, which was only 2 costumes, this is where you will stop. For those of you who created a little bit extra, what you will need to do is go into control, add an if then on top of the if then else, and then do the same idea. So go into operators, add an equal sign, go into variable, add a level bubble, go and change the number to the other level that you want to change it to. So let's say maybe now level 4, I want to add a different one. I'm going to go into looks, add a switch costume, make sure that I have another costume. Right now I don't, but if I did, I will then change this to the other costume that I want it to be. And then this way, level 4 will have a different particle, level 3 will have a different particle, and then everything else will have the same particle, which is the leaf one. So if you guys have other ones you guys want to do. So for example, in my platform sprite, altogether I have 6 levels because I have 6 of these different worlds. I can make different particles for each and every one of them. So if I want to have 6 of these, I can. I can't have 7, 8, or 9 because I don't have that amount of levels. And that means that some of these are not going to show up, and there's no point in creating something that's not going to show. So take your time creating new particles for each of your worlds that fits your theme. Remember to update the code and add this. For those of you who only have 2 particles after creating it, you just need this if then else. For those of you who are going to be making more, just remember to keep adding a new if then on top of the if then else. That way you have a different particle showing up for every level, but as a blanket, you kind of make sure that one of these costumes show up for every other level, in case you don't want to specify what happens to the rest of them, so at least the other level still has a particle inside of their level when you are going to play